feel like my collar is messed up.
If you ever see my collar inside out, please tell me.
Alright.
Not that it ever happens.
Am I like Leo now? Welcome to the unit analysis for these new units that are coming out tomorrow from the day of this video's release, or tonight I guess. We have 4 units to display this time, and there is quite a few interesting things here to talk about. Firstly, we have Julius on the list here, and I think out of the 4 here, I actually like Julius the most, and I'm glad he's going to be the free unit. He's going to be the Grand Hero Battle unit coming up very soon. His stat spread is very similar to Arvis and Sias, which makes sense because they're technically family, but he has really low speed, unlike Arvis and Sias. He's at a 27 speed stat, which is actually pretty slow, and that kind of makes me think of like Oliver instead of it's like a red Oliver. Like he doesn't really match up with his own. But the thing I really like about Julius is the fact that he has that unique tome, and it's called Loptir. Loptir is a tome that basically reduces the attack of the enemy units unless they're using a dragon effective weapon. So he's like some sort of, it's only 6 by the way, it's like some kind of red dragon mage or something, which it's total immersion levels. Like I haven't played Genealogy, but I know this is kind of like the same effect. So like Julia will like do full damage to him, but every other unit doesn't. So that's really cool. I really like that sort of effect. I think it'll make him fairly tanky, especially. It's like kind of giving him like 22 defense or 41 res against matchups that he doesn't want to fight. And that makes him super strong. Like if you end up using a build where he's using, you know, Fury, distant defense, for instance, quick riposte, you basically need quick riposte either in the B slot or in the seal slot, and he needs it to make sure he gets those doubles off. And getting doubled may not necessarily be a bad thing. He may want to prefer, you know, running distant defense in the A slot, or even maybe close counter. You could even do close counter in the A slot, but I wouldn't personally commit so many resources to a limited unit, even though he's really cool, just because he's limited in sort of stats and merges and stuff you can give him. But yeah, quick riposte would be almost mandatory on him due to his low speed, but it can work in his favor, which is if you use him to enemy phase bait, he can get doubled, and you're going to charge up his 3 charge special really easily this way. So if you give him Iceberg, for instance, they hit you, your charges 2, you know, you hit them, charges 1, they hit you again, it's ready, and then you Iceberg. And due to his super high res, he'll be hitting like super strong. Like Iceberg's gonna hit for 20 just with distant defense on him. If you give him double distant defense, it hits for like 23 on top of his really decent attack stat. 35 is a great attack stat. So generally speaking, I think Julius is really unique. I'm glad he's not just like a carbon copy of Arvis, and he has some uniqueness going for him, and I think his tome is really cool. I'm glad that he's not just another ploy boy just like Arvis and Sias. Sias being like the red Arvis, but doesn't have recover ring, and this guy has a really unique tome to make him super tanky. So definitely impressed with that. Next up we have Lene, and she's interesting as well. If you don't really know the comparison between her and Olivia, she's weaker than Olivia by a bit, but slightly faster. And this generally means that it doesn't matter too much because she's a dancer, and dancers shouldn't be engaging in combat all too much. Dancers should generally just be supporting. You want to be behind, you know, the enemy units and your allied units, just giving them support. She comes with Safeguard, which is a totally new weapon, and I think this is a really cool weapon because you can fodder it off. Generally, she shouldn't be using it, especially not with her 23 defense. I guess it's okay if you let her keep it, but you want to give her something else, right? In the sword slot. You know, with dancers, the greatest weapons you can give them are actually the weapons from the New Year banner, which is like New Year's Camilla. She has that, I believe it's called Karamatsu, and that's what like dancers like her would want to use. Olivia and Lene would be really good users of those weapons. So the thing is, with the legendary banners coming up, the new one coming out at the end of the month now, or the one after, and as an early prediction, I do think that we'll be seeing New Year's Camilla then. And that is your time to be pumping up your dancers with that supportive stats. Because dancers generally don't have the BST. They don't have the stats to be engaging in combat. So don't put too much resources into Lene. She's going to be like an Olivia, like literally Olivia. And Olivia is so much easier to get. You know, the 1-star, 2-star stuff. If you're going to build Lene, it's pretty much the same way you would build Olivia, right? So you can, if you want to use her as combat, you know, okay, she'd be a pretty good user of Woe Dao. thing is, she kind of needs Wodao to do damage. With 28 attack stat, you need Wodao. You would need like Wodao, Wrath, and like Fury or Distant Counter, and then you're finally doing some damage. She's likely to get demoted. I really do think she'll get demoted to 4-star, but the problem still arises that you can just get so many more Olivias. The thing that's interesting though is her B skill is that Firestorm Dance, and that's like budget Axora, okay? If you don't have Axora, then for those of you that didn't get your opportunity to get Axora, at least with Firestorm Dance, you can really buff up some units. Now be careful how you use Firestorm Dance. Please don't use that with Blade Mages, because you waste a dance trying to buff somebody to get optimal attacking stats, okay? So even with Fortified Defense, you know, as a C slot and Fortified Res as the seal slot, all you're doing is buffing a Blade Mage by 8 attack and then having to waste a dance to truly optimize the damage stats. It's not that great. What truly shines with those type of skills is when you use it on enemy phase units that are like tanks, okay? So if you use it on somebody like Chrom, if you use it on Chrom, he's a good user to just, you know, buff him up at the end of the turn, place him somewhere, all the units come to you, you give him those extra stats. That's the best way, in my opinion, from using it, you know, long time to see the true usage of these type of Firestorm Dance. Blaze Dance it comes from PA Olivia. Then we have Geyser Dance, Gale Dance, and such like those. If you're going to use those, try to use them on enemy phase units, and you'll see them much more consistent that way. Safeguard, you're going to want to inherit this to other more tanky red users, definitely. Just look at the red pool and look at the most tankiest units that do not have legendary weapons yet. I'm going to say Hinata. Hinata's going to be really good with it. He's one of the highest red defense units. If Chrom didn't have Falchion, he would be a really good user of it as well. The new one, of course. So, next up, we got kind of like the all-star of the banner. This is like everyone is hyped for Ishtar. Guys, please. It's another blue mage, and it's a very similar stat spread to a bunch of other blue mages. And if you've been playing this game for a long time, you probably have one of the other blue mages, okay? If you have Lute, if you have Mei, who comes at 3-star now, by the way, if you have Lene, which you probably don't because she's only shown up on like 2 banners or 1 banner even, I don't actually remember. If you have Tail2 is the best choice comparable to Ishtar. Please don't spend hundreds of orbs for Ishtar unless she generally is your favorite character of all time. That is my opinion here. She has some really good stat spread. Her tome is really unique, and she comes with that odd attack wave, but this is intentional. They want you to be, you know, summoning for this sort of stuff because she comes with all this uniqueness, which is great and all, but you probably already have somebody who can reliably cover that blue mage slot, okay? So my opinion on Ishtar, don't summon for her if you have the proper characters already running in that blue mage slot, which you probably do, okay? You probably have a plus speed Mei or a plus attack Mei in your box, and you can merge her up, you know, 5 times for 100,000 feathers. We literally just got like 20,000 feathers on the day of this video release with 4-star Takumi. So there is no excuse for why you couldn't build up some great, like Mei, for instance. And she could do the same thing with Blade Tome. Like, you give her a Bar Blade Plus and you're good to go. Like, Tail 2 can accomplish the same thing as well. And she's 4-star rarity. So I know there's some really good skills, but we should be patient, okay? These odd attack waves, even attack waves, whatever you want to call them, they're going to show up as seals one day, you know, months from now. And if you be patient, you'll take advantage of them too. You don't need them right away. You'll be fine without them. Mjolnir is a really cool tome. And if I'm going to talk about Ishtar's true uniqueness and how you should do this, I think an AoE special build for Ishtar is ideal here. And you know why? Because she has 34 attack, which is pretty good. It's not as high as Lilina and Snacky's 37 attack, but 34 is really good. If you can get a plus attack Ishtar, give her, you know, like Blazing Wind, and she doesn't need Quick Impulse. You can give her an attack 3 seal, and she's 37 attack. She actually matches Lilina and Snacky with the attack 3 seal. But her tome has added effects. You get extra speed. She has a speed stat, unlike Snacky and Lilina. So if you give her the Blazing Wind AoE special build, you need 3 infantry pulses for that. She's gonna be amazing. Like, she does have the stat spread for it, but you know, she doesn't have some of the other cool effects like 4 Blazes reducing resistance or the drive effect from Snacky, but otherwise, as an independent unit, she's going to be really amazing for that. And if I had an Ishtar, that's how I would use her. That's not to say you couldn't use her other ways, because she can give like 10 attack and 10 speed just from initiation because of her tome, and so Sparrow on her base kit, plus there's that auto attack wave. But be very careful on this, guys. Auto attack wave is going to be really inconsistent, especially if you play a lot of arena. You'll know that if you're planning your turns around every odd turn to try to secure kills, that is very inconsistent and can most likely lose some matches for you. So, you know, be very careful, plan ahead if you plan to use a skill, because you may end up in, you know, a cornered situation where you don't have auto attack wave and then, you know, you just lost a match. So, like I said, blade mages like Mei, Tail 2 will be more consistent than Ishtar will be if you're trying to rely on auto attack wave to secure kills. Don't ride the hype exactly. There are better options, okay? This is just a total debate, and the reason I'll say that completely and honestly with you guys is because legendary banners are coming up at the end of this month and the next month, and I predict that we will start seeing winter units and New Year's units, and winter units have amazing fodder. Legendary Ike is sitting out. He's going to be replaced by something. It could be a Marth alt, okay? We might finally get the legendary hero Marth. And would you be that guy who spent hundreds of orbs here for Ishtar and have 0 when the best units that have been released in Fire Emblem Heroes are showing up at the end of this month and the end of next month? Okay, just notice that. You know, don't say I didn't warn you when you didn't spend your orbs efficiently. Okay, and finally, we have Eldigan's son himself, Akariss. So I think out of the bunch, I actually think that Akariss is, out of the summoning pool, it's not strictly Julius, out of the summoning pool, I think Akariss is definitely the most unique actually. Ishtar is, Julius is cool. Ishtar is a debate, like just a total bait. You can tell just by the skill set. The fact that she's, even look at her art, okay? Just look at Ishtar's art. Yeah, okay, you get the point, okay? That's totally obvious at this point. So with Akariss, I think he's got some really cool, unique things running with him. And that's Dark Mistletoe's effect. I talked about it yesterday during my impressions, but now that I've seen his stat spread, with him running 3630, 3318 res, that's crazy good. 36 attack is insane, because if you give him 1 Hone Cavalry buff, even if you keep Brazen Attack defense on him, Gold Cavalry's in, even give him like Vantage, and he will literally solo checkmate maps. Basically, he does so much attack because of Dark Mistletoe's effect that nothing can kill him. Blue anything. It had to be like a 40 defense unit or something to kill him, because just so you can feel out what I'm saying here. If you don't understand Dark Mistletoe's effect, basically his sword reduces the cooldown special of your special by 1. So he comes with Draconic Aura, which is 3 charge special, gets reduced to 2. Just, you know, innately. Now, anytime you use your special, after combat, it gets reduced by 2. So if his 2 charge special gets reduced by 2, it goes down to 0. And that means his Draconic Aura is literally ready every single combat after the first time you've used it. And in players' hands, this is really powerful, because if you give him Draconic Aura, you give him Vantage, you put him into Brazen Attack defense range, and boom, this guy's running around like with 60 plus attack, and Draconic Aura is going to be adding like 20 on attack on top of that. The guy's hitting like 80 to 90 on most units, okay? You would need a blue high tanky unit to survive this sort of stuff. And based on his defense stat and speed stat being pretty decent, he's not even going to die even if the blue unit attacked him through Vantage. He will solo maps. Now, in the enemy's hands, it's not as good. I don't think it's as good. You shouldn't be charging up the enemy Akariss' special so that he can checkmate you with Vantages and Brazens. Like, come on. You can probably player phase him with Noe or enemy phase him with Noe, and that's GG from that point on. But if you let him get into Vantage range as an enemy unit, like, you're making some mistakes. But otherwise, in the player's hand, this guy's amazing. It reminds me a lot of Sword Reinhardt with the people that run like distant counter Vantage quick riposte builds, where he doubles on the enemy phase and he does crazy amounts of damage. Well, Akariss kind of does the same thing here, especially if you give him distant counter, where he can like just checkmate maps with Vantage. Anything that attacks into him totally dies. The difference between Akariss and Reinhardt, though, is that Akariss attacks twice. Reinhardt attacks twice, and he's reduced by the defense stat twice. Like, he basically, the higher the enemy's defense stat, the less effective Reinhardt's double will be. But Akariss just straight up does true damage to Draconic Aura, 20 plus attack, especially if you've buffed him up and he's using like Brazen Attack defense. And yeah, like, he's gonna kill stuff. His attack stat's insanely strong. So I think this guy is definitely one of the coolest options you can get from this banner, and I do look forward to using him at some point. Now, everything that I've said about Akariss, I do suspect that Eldigan in the future will be able to upgrade his Mistletoe to Dark Mistletoe, and he can accomplish the exact same build I just described. So, you know, try it out. Okay, now, the final thing that I'm going to talk about is actually the summoning percentages. Everyone always asks me about this stuff. Now, I don't have the true summoning statistics of the newest banner yet, but I wanted to break down some myths, and we're going to talk about... This banner has the exact same colors as the current banner. So I'm showing you guys Morgan, and Kron, which was 2 reds and a blue. So same idea. Ishtar, Lene, and Akariss. Okay? So... these won't be totally accurate, but they'll give you a good idea of what to expect. So, for those of you that don't know, and this is a very common myth, everywhere I've looked on YouTube and Reddit, people always think that, like, if a unit is sharing colors, that the other one will pity break you. This is not true, okay? It's definitely not true. If you're targeting a specific unit, there is a very negligible chance, it's probably like 1 or 2 orbs used extra on top of what you are already summoning for, if it was a sole color on a banner, okay? When units share a focus color, the thing is the game decides which units are placed there and their orb colors as you go into a summoning session, not before. So that means that if Lene wasn't there, you know, that doesn't mean that Akariss always shows up. What happens is a lot of people say, oh, you know, I pulled four I pulled 4 Morgans before I pulled a Chrom, like from this banner. Well, the thing is, you didn't miss your chance on getting Chrom. What happened is you were in the 90th percentile for pulling Chrom. You may have spent over 300 orbs before you finally got your Chrom, but on the way there, you got the average met for Morgan. So if you look at this, cost to pull either red focus. On average, a person spends about 72 orbs to pull either red focus. It's not a 50-50% chance, but it's pretty close. Sometimes, you know, it's about 40%, so between both focuses. And the pity rate isn't what's going to determine it because it's so negligible. A 0.25% increase isn't going to affect your chances of getting one focus or the other. So if you just look at it, 322 orbs. That means until you've spent about 322 orbs, you can't be saying, oh, I got Lene 4 times before I got, you know, Akariss. That's just not how it works mathematically. It just means that you were 1 in 10 people who couldn't pull Akariss before you got like 4 Lenes, which you met the average of 72 orbs. In the 90th percentile, 1 in 10 people take 158 orbs before they see even either of them. Okay, remember, these numbers aren't exact because I'm using the older banner, and I understand that the pool did get changed a little bit. The numbers here are actually less on the current banner. Because the pool got changed a little bit, and there's less 5-star focus units, less 5-star units, we can actually look at this and say, okay, you should be spending even less orbs for these units. Although red is the hardest to be getting summoning focuses from because there's so many units in that pool. Now, for Ishtar, yes, it will be easier than red to pull a specific unit because the blue pool is less saturated than the red pool. You can probably expect the average to be about 100 and so orbs for pulling Ishtar. But remember, just like I said earlier, if you're spending your orbs now, you might be making a grand mistake because you probably already have May, you probably already have Tail2, and you should be waiting probably for the end of the month or the next month because some of the best quality units are coming out on those legendary banners. And, you know, Winter Tharja could be on there, new legendary heroes that could be actually hype. And legendary heroes affect the game in such a great way by giving blessings and stat bonuses to other units, where this is just another unit, okay? So 120 orbs, for instance, on a legendary banner could be 3 5-stars you can get on average. It's about 40 to 50 orbs on average to pull a unit on an 8% banner. The mathematics I've shown in my other videos. And, you know, 3 5-stars versus 1. And that one, because that doesn't even compete with a fully merged May, for instance, or a merged up Tail2. Like it's just not as effective, okay? I think Ishtar has some creative builds, but you would have to open your wallet to truly get the potential out of that. You need infantry pulses, you need blazing winds. If you use their base kit, that's great, but it's not consistent. Like odd attack wave, trust me, it's not gonna be that great in practicality. It looks good on paper, buffing your attack by 6, but can you truly depend on that to be active when you need it most to snipe a kill? As I said, it might not happen. So, in general, I say this about every single permanent banner, guys, but please don't pull if they are truly not your favorite characters of all time, okay? You will see them in the future. They will show up on other focus banners. They are in the permanent pool. They could pity break you. They'll show up on legendary banners, and you know, you should just save your orbs and target things that mean more to your arena core. All you're going to end up doing is going back to your arena core, which could be Noe, Nino, Erica for all I know, and all you did was waste your orbs and you didn't really accomplish anything, when you could be pulling for Hectors, you could be pulling for Takumi, some good fodder, you could be pulling for Winter Tharjas for Vengeful Fighters, Bowl Fighters, opening up, expanding your roster to clear like arena assault content, squad assault content. So, you know, I've said this a lot, but again, for me, it's a skip, and I recommend most people skip it as well. Of course, if you're pulling for Lene, you might be making a mistake because you might get demoted. In general though, thanks for watching guys, and good luck. Peace.